Sort out the hips and glutes. This mobility video is all going to be around hips. First of all, we're going wider than shoulder width. We're dropping into a nice wee squat position, and I want you to try and get as comfortable as possible here. Try and bring the chest as high as you can and the hips as low into that middle point as you can without it being too uncomfortable. From there, we then want to go 90-90, so we want 90 degrees between that right leg or that left leg as you can see it, and then front and back having 90 degrees. And what we're looking to do is just slowly move that chest onto knee, get a wee bit of movement through the glute and the hip, and start to get some blood back flowing through those areas. I want you to do this on both sides to make sure that we're really covering both ends, and then we're going to get some active movement here. And we're really just looking to keep the same width as you can see with the hips, and then open and rotate, drop knee to the opposite side, and then starting to get some good movement through the hip sockets as it is a ball and socket joint. Once we've done this, we then want to think about flowing it for as long as possible until we find it's comfortable enough. We then want to think about moving into pigeon, where we're really trying to get that front lead leg at that kind of bar, I always call it, trying to have it look like a bar. The reason being, we want to make sure then, once we get comfortable with that stretch, we can really get deeper by doing this, by leaning forward and making sure that we open up and stretch the hip. Now, on the opposite side, I'm going to show us what we don't want to think about doing. See, when the foot is tucked here, we don't want that. We want it to be front and centre. Reason being is we don't really get activation on the hip and the glute when it's tucked back like that. We want to make sure that we get good activation through the hip and glute. So from there, we are then looking to move into like a figure four movement, I call it. I would ideally like you to use a wall where you place your foot against, as you can see here, and then the knee that is barred across, we're really looking to put some pressure on it and get some stretch through that hip and really look to open that up as deep as we can. We are then rolling on to a bit of movement through the hip in terms of starting to get some rotation and turning this knee down towards the floor. And like I said, the hip is a ball and socket joint. We're trying to really get some movement through that hip. You can flow this for as long as you feel is comfortable and really play about with it. But this is where we then get some active movement through the lower body. We're then moving into some catching the pennies, really looking to send the hips back here and get some movement through the hamstrings. The hamstrings are connected to the hips and to the glutes. It's important that we get some blood flow to those areas as well. And I'm really looking here to push my hips back. From there, we then want to work into some bodyweight squats and really focusing on what the hips do at the top here, getting a nice squeeze of the hips. We don't want to push them far forward. We want to just make sure that we squeeze them hard at the top. We are then rolling into some glute bridges. Now, with all of these exercises, I would always say anywhere between 10 to 20 reps. It really depends. But what I'm really looking to do is send the hips high towards the sky here and really squeeze at the top and making sure that my feet are in range so I'm not activating my hamstrings too much. Finally, we're then going into lunge position here, and what I really want to do is think about opening up the front of my hip. In a moment, I'm going to then drive my hands overhead. As you'll see, we really want to then think about opening up the hip itself when we do this from the front and getting some good active blood flow through the hips and making sure then we can come up here and drive high, pulling those hands up towards the sky. As you can see, I'm wincing because it fucking hurts. Knee comes up, we land, we drop into that lunge, we pull the hands overhead, and what it's doing is it's unlocking that front section of the hip that's connected to the quad that a lot of people struggle to get range of motion through, and especially if you run, this area can end up really, really tight. So we want to make sure that we're throwing that overhead and getting some good stretch through the spine as well. Finally, we are opening the hip in just a different dimension here. I want you to drive that hand up, or that left leg up to left hand, and then I'm really looking to create a wee bit of rotation through the spine here by rotating my right or my left shoulder round, depending on what side I'm on here. So as you can see with that right side, I'm really looking to pin that right shoulder onto my left glute and get a bit more blood flow through the hips.